Assalamualaikum, sir.
Sir, are you hearing me properly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes, sir.
So just wait a second. Let me connect my headphone. Just wait a second. Okay, I hope now I am more clearer. Right, sir? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So how are you, sir? Everyone is fine, I hope.
Yes, sir.
Do you know from where I am taking this class?
Our campus, sir.
Campus, sir.
From the campus. So I hope you are the students from I mean you have some experience about the ERB campus, right? You're not the pandemic students. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
sir. Fine. So the campus is as beautiful as previous one. So it is definitely mind blowing right now even. Though the temperature is so high in Dhaka right now, but wind is blowing inside the campus, and we are inside the. Right now. I'm in the room number 6211. Would you remember 6211? Which one of the six? Annex 6,
Second floor.
level 2.
Sir, next.
Right, Annex 6, level 2, and at the bottom part of the annex. So it is the 6211. We are here. Right now, I'm in the classroom. Okay, anyway, so welcome to the semester. Welcome to the section. Would you please tell me what is the name of the section? I hope everyone is the
Sir,
section C.
Section C.
yes, sir.
Okay, good. Everyone is from the section number C. Okay, fine. So just a second, please. Let me turn on my laptop. So basically, I'm using two devices for this class. I'm taking my cell phone as well as the laptop, so that hopefully if there is any kind of internet issue, that would be mitigated. Okay, anyway, are you observing my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it visible? Yeah, fine. Okay. Let me introduce myself. But first of all, this is the EPTD. EPTD stands for Electrical Power Transmission and Distribution. Just a second. And the section is C, right?
Yes, sir.
My name is Bishwajit Bonik Pothik. But currently working as the assistant professor in the AAA department. definitely. One more information is important for you. That is my mail address. BISHWAJIT@AIUB.edu. So this mail address is important because sometimes I know maybe due to some technical error or technical problem, or maybe sometimes due to the financial issue or accounts problem or something, you cannot access the Teams account. So in such a case, you can just mail me here, ishujit@aib.edu. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I was used to taking this course previously, I mean 3 or 4 years back, but recently I am not taking this. I have not taken this course, but in this semester I have been assigned with this course. So there are a few changes over here. So let's talk about them. So this is the course outline for the fall 2021, that is for the last year. So the course is the electrical power transmission and distribution. This is the core course for EEE department, and for this course, electrical circuits 2, that is AC course is important. AC course is mandatory. And you know the vision and mission of electrical engineering department. The vision of engineering department is to the faculty of engineering will endeavor to nurture young engineers for innovation and creativity, dedicated to problem solving and lifelong learning, for research, entrepreneurship, and professionalism with respective communities. So that is the vision. The vision is basically to make sure that our students, the young engineers, is basically the young students, you should be innovative, should be creative in terms of problem solving, should be creative in terms of lifelong learning for research, entrepreneurship, that is for the kind of business, and professionalism with respective communities. So that is the vision of AIB, and there are a few missions. Missions of Faculty of Engineering is to develop engineers with highest level of commitment toward the betterment of the society by applying science and technology. The first thing is the betterment of the society. So we will try our level best to teach our students in such a way so that it will make sure that our students are better member of the society. Secondly, to nurture young leaders with perspectives and ethics. Definitely unethical, anything unethical must be avoided by our students. To create and disseminate state-of-art knowledge and technical skills with problem-solving attitude with a sustainable society. That is the third objective or third mission of Faculty of Engineering. The mission is to make sure that our students knows about the state-of-the-art technology. That is the state-of-the-art is the most modern technology, and they have very good problem solving skill. So these are the very introduction. That's a common introduction for each and every class. I believe you know about them. So in our class, what we are going to study. So the course is designed to provide the students with the basic concepts of high voltage AC electrical power transmission and distribution system, transmission line structures, constructions, and maintenance. So this is the first uh, thing which we are going to concentrate on. So we are going to teach you about the high voltage AC. What is the meaning of high voltage AC? Any idea, anyone? Do you have any idea?
Voltage that is very high or lethal to people's.
Human, right? Little to people. Good. So yeah, definitely you're right. Uh, In our day-to-day life, we use the 220 volts or 230 volts, is not it? So is it high voltage? Actually, no, it is not a high voltage. So in the transmission and distribution system, that is from the generation house to the distributor or to the users, if you think about the voltage level, basically the generators produce the voltage around 11 kV. Then it is step up to 33 kV, then 66, then 132, then 266 kV, or maybe more than that, 400 kV line. So when the voltage is increased, definitely current decreases. Different phenomena happens in the transmission and the distribution system. So in our course here, in this EPTD course, we're going to concentrate on those concepts. Another is the potential difference between points due to a charge capacitance of a two-wire line, those things. Simple ways, if you think about the transmission line, is there any capacitor in the transmission line? What do you think? If you think about any transmission and distribution line, is there any capacitor?
There should be, sir, because of the air and the high voltage of the wire.
Good. So in between two transmission lines, there will be some hypothetical capacitors. There will be no real-time capacitor, but there will be some hypothetical capacitors. There will be some imaginary capacitance. We will study about those things. We are also going to study about the voltage current relationship in different types of transmission line. That is, for different types of transmission line, what would be the voltage current relation? We will also study about the mechanical characteristics of the transmission line, the sag and the tension analysis, effect of temperature, wind, ice loading, those things. Then we will study about the corona effect. But this corona and the pandemic corona are not same. We will study about the corona effect, factors which affect the corona, advantage, disadvantage, those things. We are also going to study about the voltage control techniques in power transmission and distribution systems, how to improve the power factor, line insulators, underground cables, electrical power distribution systems. That is, we are going to cover lots of important topics for any electrical engineers. Okay, so we are going to cover up lots of very interesting topics, I would say, because when you get the idea about these topics, the whole engineering, the whole electrical system will be much more clearer to you. You can more easily visualize about how the system is working. Okay, so this course is highly important for you, and definitely this course is mandatory for you. Any questions, sir? Okay. So that's the brief introduction of the course. Hopefully, we will get 12 classes before the midterm and 12 classes after the midterm. So the lecture plans are over here. Once the meeting is done, that is, the teachers of different sections will sit together and decide about the course outline, decides about the assessment process, assessment marking process, those things. Once we decide those things, definitely I will give you the idea about what kind of questions you may get in your midterm and the final term. Okay, but before that, let me give you the idea about the marks distribution. So for attendance and performance, how much mark? 10%. For quiz, how much? 20%. For assignment, 30%. And for midterm or final term, there will be 40%. So that would be overall 100% of the marks. And for your final grade or grand total, we take 40/60. Is not it? We take 40% from the midterm and 60% from the final term. Any questions so far?
স্যার কুইজ কয়টা নেওয়া হবে আর হচ্ছে বেস্ট কয়টা করা হয়েছে?
Quiz, definitely we will try for at least 3 quizzes, at least 3, maximum 4 quizzes. Minimum 3, maximum 4, and best 2 will be counted.
এরকম কোনো থাকবে একটা বা দুইটা দিবেন?
Assignment will be definitely at least 2, maximum 3. At least 2 assignments will be given, maximum 3 assignments will be given.
Okay, sir.
Next.
স্যার আমাদের মিড আর ফাইনালে তাহলে কোনো প্রেজেন্টেশন থাকতেছে না?
Yeah, definitely there will be presentation either in the midterm or in the final term. As I mentioned, I will inform you later. After the meeting, we will decide when to take your midterm exam, when to take your final term exam, and what kind of exam will be taken. I will inform you clearly, but not right now.
Okay, sir.
Next. Anything else?
No, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, so as we have no other question, let's talk about the OBE. But before that, let me turn off the AC. The AC is so cool right now. I cannot breathe. Just a second, please. Higher, right? We have to. Could you remember the higher? I forgot. Why it is not responding yet? So let's talk about the OBE, that is the outcome-based education, and the points related to the OBE. So in this course, I find 10 COs. CO means course outcome. So course outcomes, the first course outcome is basically we should read in such a way like the student, the course outcome is to define different components regarding structural design of any HVAC transmission system. That is, the student will be able to define different components regarding structural design of any HVAC system. That is the first CO1. The CO2 is the students will be able to apply concepts of different circuit combinations in overhead transmission system for determining its electrical parameters. The third one is the students will be able to apply suitable line model in overhead transmission system for identifying its voltage current relationship and different performance parameters. The fourth course outcome is the students will be able to illustrate the electrical equivalent circuit of line insulators for solving problems due to uniform potential distribution. The fifth course outcome is the student will be able to calculate sag of overhead transmission line for different transmission tower heights and ground elevation. Do you know what is sag? Any idea about the sag?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, let
No,
me
sir.
check. Line sag. So if you think about the transmission line, have you ever seen that the wires are something like in parabolic shape?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Obviously.
স্যার শীতকালে বেড়ে
Whenever
যায় আর গরমকালে সংকুচিত হয় এই বিষয়টা স্যার
right, right. So the thing is, sag is the deviation from this point to that point. That is, if you think about the normal straight line, just a very simple straight line, that is just impossible. If I mean, whatever you do, you cannot make sure that your cable is completely horizontal. It is extremely impossible. Intentionally or unintentionally, there will be sag. Basically, sags are provided intentionally. Why? Because if you think about the winter scenario, during the winter season, what happens? The wire will be shrinked. Isn't it? The conductors will be shrinked. So if the wire is placed in such a way that it cannot it place to shrink, then what would happen? The wire will be broken. Is not it? If you make sure that the wire is perfectly a horizontally straight line, then what will happen in the winter season? The wire will be
ভেঙে
broken.
যাবে
The
স্যার।
wire will be teared down. Right. So that cannot be happen. So intentionally there will be some sag. And also think about the windy scenario. Think about the stormy scenario. During the storm, during the windy condition, we need to let the wires to move around. If we do not let the wires to move, what would happen? Basically, once again, the wire will be broken down. So this is basically the sag. So the course outcome number 5 is calculate the sag for overhead transmission lines for different transmission tower heights and ground elevations, and how much sag can be provided. That is a study. What should be the length of the transmission line? What should be the span? That is, what should be the difference between two spans of transmission tower? What would be the safe sag amount? These things we are going to study. Then we are also, the CO number 6 is the students will be able to illustrate underground cable construction for calculating its technical parameters. That is, the overhead transmission line cables and underground cables, they're completely different. They're completely different. Like overhead transmission line is we can just say it's a naked wire because there is no covers above the wire. But if you think about the underground transmission line, can you use the bare cover? I mean, bare cable? Is it possible? Can you use the naked cable inside the ground or beneath the ground? No. Then what will happen? Definitely it will create the short circuit condition and no electricity will flow. Is not it? So for underground cable, we have to use lots of insulating materials. So the construction of the underground cable is another course outcome. That is, our students will be able to illustrate underground cable construction for calculating its technical parameters. Another one is select the students will be able to select suitable power factor improvement devices for both transmission and distribution network to achieve higher power transmission capability and efficiency respectively. That is the course target. Course outcome means course target. The course target is the seventh target of the course is our students will be able to select suitable power factor improvement device. You know about the power factor from the AC course. If I say what is power factor, some of you will give me the answer like, sir, power factor is the cos theta. Am I correct? What is power factor? You will say, sir, cos theta.
Yes,
So
sir.
the power factor, it basically depends upon the theta amount. Theta is the angle difference between voltage and current signal. And what is the reason of this voltage and what is the reason of this angle difference? The reason of the angle difference is the inductance and capacitance of the transmission and distribution system. So for the transmission and distribution system, sometimes we need to make sure that the power factor is higher. To improve the power factor, which device we should use, you need to study those things. The eighth objective of this course is the students will be able to explain the functions of different components used in the power distribution network and its relevant voltage control method. That is, which components must be used in different components must be used in power distribution network. The students will be able to explain them. The course outcome number 9 is student will be able to explain the operation of high voltage DC transmission system and its advantages and disadvantages over high voltage AC system. So, have you heard about the DC transmission system, or do you have any idea about the DC transmission system? Because in real life, the transmission system which we observe, is it DC transmission or AC transmission? Anyone?
So in Bangladesh, AC trans.
Not only in Bangladesh, around the world, the 99.99% transmission system is the high voltage AC transmission system. But there are also high voltage DC transmission system is also possible. Like if you think about the transmission line between India and Bangladesh, we purchase electricity from India. The transmission line between India and Bangladesh, do you know what kind of transmission line is there?
High voltage.
High voltage, high voltage DC. Yes, high voltage DC. So we are going to study about the high voltage DC transmission system, and then we will compare the high voltage DC with the high voltage AC. And lastly, the number 10, CO number 10, it is bold. Identify different parameters. That is, students will be able to identify different parameters, components, or process of high-level complex engineering problem related to electrical power transmission and distribution system. That there will be a special assignment for OBE assessment. There will be a special assignment for 40 points. We will definitely provide you that assignment with huge amount of time so that you can complete the assignment very easily. So this assignment is highly or strongly connected, strongly related to the PC1, C2. So PC1, C2 is basically the program outcome. Don't worry about the program outcome. Don't worry about the course outcome. But through the process of learning, through the process of EPTD course, definitely you will be able to achieve these course outcomes, and especially the course outcome number 10, which is basically for the OBE assessment. Okay. So far these are the introductory things. Now, do you have any question from here?
Sir.
Okay, the notes which are required, definitely they will be provided. But for further learning, we would request you to check these two textbooks. The first textbook is Elements of Power System Analysis, written by Stevenson. So it is commonly named as the Stevenson book, Elements of Power System Analysis, written by Stevenson. That is the first book. And second one is the Principle of Power System by V.K. Mehta and Rohit Mehta. And definitely there are lots of reference books are possible. Their reference books are available in the internet. You can check anyone. You can check anyone, you can check everyone. But mainly we are going to check those first two books. And definitely I will provide you the necessary class notes. Any question from here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So if you have no other question, let's start the lecture number 1 today. So in this lecture, we are going to study about the overall power sector of Bangladesh. That is scenario of power sector review in Bangladesh. So let's study about those things. So this is the present scenario, though the present scenario is basically the 2017 version, almost 4 years back. So this present scenario is or where like there are 111 power plants. The grid capacity is 15812 megawatt. Per capita generation is 433 kilowatt hour. Access to electricity is 80%. That is 80% of the Bangladeshi people can access the electricity, not 100% yet. Now, if you think about the difference between the 2009 and 2017, you will find out that number of power plants was 27, and then in 2017 it is 111. If you just check the amount of power plants right now, let's check. Let's search power plants. So it is really confusing, you know. Basically, it is saying the 29 power plants, but these are the gigawatt level power, megawatt level power plants. But also there are a few power plants which are in the pipeline, and also there are a few small power plants. So the total number is not clear for us now, but let's study these things. In 2017, the total number was 111. And in 2009, the total number is 27. So it is a common concept that the requirement of electricity will be twice within 5 years in a developing nation. What I am saying, in a developing nation or in a country like Bangladesh, the electricity demand must be increased twice per 5 years. What does it mean? Suppose this is 2021, or we can say we are at the last end of 2021. So at the 2021, what is the power generation capability of Bangladesh? Suppose it is 15,000 megawatt. What's the power generation? 15,000 megawatt. So for future planning, the predicted load will be 30,000 megawatt at 2027. So we should build up the power plants in such a way. We should build up the power plants. We should construct the power plants in such a way so that our capability of power generation should be increased twice within 5 years. That is not a law. Basically, that is a rule of thumb. Am I clear about that?
Yes, sir.
So recently, if you check the papers, the newspapers, you will find out that there are few features, there are few newses like we have few power plants which are not been used, but we are basically the power plants are built up, but they are not used effectively. So they are criticizing the government. I understand the point, but we need to understand also that as because Bangladesh is a developing country, so our requirement of electricity will increase day by day. And we should be well prepared because without the electricity, everything is, what should I say? Everything is zero. Can you just imagine the world without the electricity? If you think about no gas, no petrol, no diesel, you may survive. But without the electricity, it is very, very, very difficult to survive in this modern world. Am I correct, sir?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So as a human, we take food for physical energy. After the physical energy, after getting the physical energy, whatever we do for energy requirement, we are highly related or highly, what should I say? We are highly dependent on the electricity. So the amount of electricity which we are producing right now, even that is not enough. We need to build up more power plants, and definitely bigger the power plants, definitely that will be better for the environment. So we need basically we need bigger power plants so that we can meet the electricity demand within for the next few years as well. And if you think about the construction of a power plant, do you think it is so simple? If you just think about, okay, I have so much money right now, I will build up a power plant within 1 month. Is it possible? What do you
No,
think? Is
sir.
it possible?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Actually, it is quite impossible. If you think about a very simple, a very small power plant, even the smaller power plants will need at least 1 year to establish. At least 1 year to establish and go to the functional state. So building up the power plants are not so easy, and definitely we should take initiatives for more power plants for the future need. Okay. So these are lots of information over here. So these are the present scenario. But the highlighted conditions or highlighted scenarios are total number of power plants are near about 111. Total grid capacity is 15,000 something. Per capita generation is 43 and access to the electricity is almost 80%. Okay. Now, if you think about the power plants, what are the capacity in terms of fuel type? So in terms of coal, installed capacity is near about 250 megawatt. In terms of gas, the installed capacity is near about 8,529 megawatt, which is 62.62% of the total capacity. So from this chart, what you can understand? What is the main significant source? Anyone?
Gas.
Natural gas, right? Gas means natural gas. So as the natural gas is available in Bangladesh, so the power generators are also run by the natural gas, and natural gas based generators are highly available. What is the second highest one on the chart?
Or is if we
Which
have the
which kind of
fuel.
fuel is used? HFO, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So HFO stands for heavy fuel. Heavy fuels are basically I cannot just describe the particular condition of the heavy fuel, but they are not refined. Heavy fuels are what should I say, are less uh, lower quality than the diesel. The finest oil is the octane, then the petrol, then the diesel, then the heavy fuel, HFO, heavy fuel oil. Okay. What is the third one?
High speed diesel.
HFT, high speed diesel, sir.
High-speed diesel is basically the diesel-based generator. High-speed diesel is basically a diesel-based generator. What is the fourth one?
স্যার ইম্পোর্টেড করে নিয়ে আসেন স্যার।
Imported. What does it mean?
স্যার অন্য
Basically,
কোথাও থেকে নিয়ে আসে স্যার।
from where we import the electricity? From India, right?
ইয়েস স্যার।
So electricity is imported from India, but the amount is near about 660 megawatt. Yeah. So these are the very simple chart about what are the fuel or which types of fuels are used for generating electricity in Bangladesh. Now about the forecast, just check the amount of forecast. In 2017, what was the rated amount? Just check. 12,644 megawatt. The predicted capacity for 2020 is 17,304. For 2022, it is 20,443. In 2030, what is the demand? The demand is, the predicted demand is 33,708. That is almost 34,000 megawatt. So in 2030, the electricity demand forecast is near about 34,000 megawatt. Okay, that is the year-wise peak demand. And the power generation plan, the generation plan should be higher than the demand. Definitely the generation plan should be higher than the demand. Can you tell me why? Why the generation plan must be higher than the demand?
স্যার চাহিদা পূরণের জন্য।
Definitely, but
দাম
why
লওয়া
it should be higher? Suppose your requirement is 25,000
স্যার
megawatt,
সংরক্ষণ।
but you should think about 30,000. Any idea why? Basically, if you think about the malfunction, right? If you think about the malfunctioning of any particular power plant, then what will happen? If it is just equal to the demand, if our supply is just equal to the demand, then what might happen during the malfunction period or during the maintenance period, there will be a huge gap between the supply and the demand. So to mitigate that gap, what should we do? We should make sure that our generation capacity is higher than the required capacity. Our generation capacity must be higher than the demand capacity. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
ইয়েস স্যার।
Okay, fine. Now, for the power sector, some of you are very much interested for job in the power sector of Bangladesh. For those people and also for general engineering perspective of AIOB or anywhere in Bangladesh, we must understand how the power sector is structured in Bangladesh. So at the head, definitely there is the Ministry of Power, Energy and Mineral Resources. Under them, there are different sub-institutions. The first one is the Energy and Mineral Resources Division. Another one is the BERC. Another one is the Power Division. Inside the power divisions, there remains different power cells. Now, again, inside the power division, there is REB, DPDC, DESCO, BPDB, CEI. Under the BPDB, there is PGCB, APSCL, EGCB, NWPGCL, WZPDCL, and the IPPs. So what are these things? Let me clarify. So the first one is the Power Division, Ministry of Power, Energy and Mineral Resources, MPEMR. The regulator is the Bangladesh Energy Regulatory Commission, also named as the BERC. Then for the generation portion, for electricity generation, there are not three actually. There are 5 subdivisions. Number one is the first one is the Bangladesh Power Development Board. So the companies which are related to the generation, the first one is the Bangladesh Power Development Board. The second organization is the Ashuganj Power Station. Third one is the Electricity Generation Company, EGCB. The fourth one is the Northwest Power Generation Company, NWPGCL. And lastly, the Independent Power Producers. Independent power producers are very small amount of energy generators, but they are most of the cases, they are basically privately owned, not government owned. Okay, they are the private organization. Now, for the entire country, for the transmission line, the organization which is connected or which is regulatory is named as the PGCB, Power Grid Company of Bangladesh. So what is the difference between BPDB? BPDB is Bangladesh Power Development Board. That one is related to the generation. And PGCB, Power Grid Company of Bangladesh, that is related to the power transmission and distribution, especially the transmission. And the next one is the distribution. For the next distribution end, again BPDB, Bangladesh Power Development Board. Again DPDC for Dhaka, it is DPDC. Again there is in the Dhaka there was DESCO is the previous version basically. Dhaka Electric Supply Company Limited, DESCO. For the west zone means the left side of Bangladesh. The organization is West Zone Power Distribution Company. For the northwest zone, for the Rajshahi, Dinajpur, for those part, that is the Northwest Zone Power Distribution Company. And lastly, the Rural Electrification Board, so the rural cooperatives. So these are the organizations related to the power transmission and distribution system in Bangladesh. Now, from the annual report, it is find out that for rental power station, which is mainly HFO-based power stations, IPP, individual power plants, or the rental power stations, mainly they are producing using the HFO, heavy fuel, and the tariff per kilowatt hour for them is 5.5 up to 9 taka. Okay, for quick rental, the tariff is 14 up to 20.5 taka. For HSD based quick rental, the tariff is 21.5 up to 29.8 taka. For public power stations, which are mainly gas based, 1.6 to 3.35. For the public, which are the high speed diesel, this is 15.8 to 27.9. So anyway, this is the chart of the left one. I hope everyone is observing this chart. So from this chart, what do we understand? Anyone? So for producing which kind of, I mean, obviously all of them are electricity production. So which kind of fuel is cost more for producing the electricity? Anyone? Any idea?
Diesel, sir. So why?
Which one? Wind, right?
But diesel to sir 33.3 to 261 দেখাচ্ছে স্যার।
Okay, so diesel is 333.3 to 261.5. What is the wind? Wind cost is 41.43. What about the high speed diesel? 15.8 up to 27.9. High-speed diesel for quick rental, 21.5 up to 29.8. So my point over here is, even if you think about the renewable energy, which one is the lowest one? Which kind of fuel is for the lowest?
Hydro, sir.
Hydro, right?
Gas, gas to
Hydro is
0.942.
1.1. What about the gas? 0.94 up to 2.56, right? So, do you have any idea about the hydroelectric power? Can you give me the example of Bangladesh? Where is the hydroelectric power?
Kaptai, sir.
Kaptai, right? So, in the Kaptai, there is the hydroelectric power plant. And I hope you can easily understand, we do not need any particular fuel. We do not need any particular fuel for Kaptai Pani Bidyut Kendra, is not it? So the cost is definitely mainly the maintenance cost. Is not it, sir?
Yes, sir.
Any questions, Shuman? Any question? No? Is there any question, sir? Partho? Okay. So which one is the lowest? The hydro one, is not it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Also, what about the gas? Gas is also kind of cheap, is not it?
Yes.
স্যার হাইড্রোটা একদম ফিক্সড আর গ্যাসটা স্যার ভ্যারিয়েশন ভ্যারি করে স্যার
Right.
স্যার এরকম ভ্যারি করে কি জন্য স্যার? কিছু ফিক্সড, কিছু ভ্যারি করে এরকম। আর
It depends upon the size of the power plant. It depends upon the transmission system. It depends upon the distribution
স্যার
system.
হিউজ
Depends
অ্যামাউন্টের
upon
স্যার
the
কি করে, স্যার?
maintenance. It depends upon the maintenance. Suppose you want to maintain a 50-year-old power plant like Ashuganj Power Station. Literally, the age of the Ashuganj Power Station is near about 50 years. Can you imagine? Can you just imagine? There are few power plants which are of the Pakistan period.
Yes, sir.
So for the maintenance, definitely the cost will be higher. Again, if you think about the newer power plants, whenever you think about the newer power plants, when you try to establish the newer power plants, definitely the initial cost is also higher. Do you understand my point? Whenever you
Yes, sir.
suppose today you are going to inaugurate a new power plant, but what would be the initial costing? Initial costing is huge. So therefore, there is the variation. The variation in terms of fuel cost, the variation in terms of maintenance cost, the variation in terms of running cost. There are lots of costs associated over there. Okay. Hydro is the cheapest one. Hydro is the most environment friendly, but definitely hydro-based power plant is very difficult one to build up. If you think about the Kaptai, it is not that easy to build up a power plant like Kaptai Panividyut.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Now, what is the electricity charge? I think it is old one. Is it the new one? Just check the tariff. I don't think it is the
No, sir.
new one.
It's the old ones.
So
No,
for
sir.
the
New one
first
4.26.
yeah, 4.26 or something. Okay. So for the first step, that is up to 75 units, it is near about 4 point something. Up to second or third or fourth, this is up to that. But what about the fifth step or the sixth step? Basically, it is huge, right? So once you go to the more than 600 units, when you consume more than 600 units, all of a sudden the electricity bill will jump up. Is not it?
Yes, sir. ডাবল হয়ে
Even
যাবে না?
Kind of. It is kind of if you are a consumer to 400 units, up to 400 units of electricity consumption, the electricity bill will be near about 2,000, 3,000 taka. Once you pass the 400 units of electricity, the cost will be 8.7 or probably 9 taka. And again, more than 600, it will be 10 taka. So 10 or more. So higher the electricity consumption, higher the amount of electricity rate and electricity cost, right? Now there are few other consumer category. This is basically the residential category. There are the agricultural pumping. For agricultural reason, definitely the cost is lower, 3.82 taka or something similar to that. There are some small industries. For small industries, flat rate is 7.66, off-peak rate is 6.9, peak rate is 9.24. So that is the small industry. For the non-residential, but for light and power, that is the number D. Number E, for commercial and office purposes, just check. Flat rate is 9.8, off-peak 8.45, peak time near about 12 taka. Do you understand? So these are the classification of energy charge. Okay, this is the list of power plants in progress in 2017 when the slides were prepared. Definitely, these slides will be modified. But before that, if you just check, what we find out in the progress, how many power plants are in progress? Near about 44. And what should be the installed capacity? Near about 7,604 megawatt. Okay. So
Sir,
that means
এখানে কি স্যার কোনো বেসিক ডিফারেন্সেস আছে স্যার পাবলিক এন্ড প্রাইভেট পাওয়ার প্ল্যান্টের মধ্যে স্যার?
yes, there are some difference like who will invest, whether the government will invest or as a company you will invest. It is mainly the investment. Okay.
ওকে স্যার।
It is called the PPP. Have you heard about the PPP? Public private relationship or something. So PPP is basically the government will take or government will purchase the electricity. The private farms will produce the electricity, and there will be a partnership between the government and public farms. But if you think about the PPP, the rentals and the quick rentals, they are the PPP projects. Whatever the costing, check the costing. Costing is very high, is not it?
Yes sir.
Near about 14 up to 29 or 30 taka. Even if you think about the highest one, even if you think about the highest electricity charge over here, it is not 14 taka. The government has to purchase the electricity with 14 or from 14 up to 20 taka for the quick rental. Now the question is, sir, then why it is needed? Actually, quick rental power plants are needed because they are small. They are smaller in size, number one. Number two, they will be run at the peak demand condition. That is, they will not be run for the entire day of the operation, or they will not run 24 hours a day. Rather, they will be run during the peak demand condition, like during the evening hour, during the 12 p.m., 12 up to 3 to 4 p.m. That is the office hours. During these office hours, the electricity demand will rise. Both the official demand will rise. Both the industrial demand will rise. So to mitigate those demand, basically this kind of quick rental powers are established and those are the necessity of quick rental power stations. But there are disadvantage. The costing is higher, but there is the advantage. The advantage is, what is the advantage? Anyone? Think about the average value, right? Think about the average. For hydro, it is 1.1 taka, and for quick rental, suppose this is 14 taka. So 14 plus 1.1 divided by 2 should be how much? Plus minus 7 taka. Do you understand? On an average, the demand meets the supply. What is the costing? On an average, the costing is very much near to the consumer rates. Though the government have to give lots of what should I say? Government has to inject lots of money for the electricity generation and electricity production and those things, but they are very much important for the development of the country, because without the electricity, no one can develop. No country can develop. Is not it? Without the electricity, can you just think about any industry? Can you think about any organization? Can you think about the reality? Actually, no. Okay, so these are the lists of some upcoming power plants like Meghnaghat, Ashuganj unit number 150 megawatt power plant. So in such a case, the rate will be 8 taka. In the Karaniganj, the rate was 19 taka or near about 20 taka. Yeah. In Kodda, in Gazipur, near about 8.33 taka. So these are the upcoming power plant projects. Okay. Now, what about the planned electricity generation for renewable energy? For the renewable energy, you know, the options are solar, wind, biomass, biogas, and the hydro. So the hydro is a big thing. I mean, I'm not sure whether there is another extra hydro project is going on or not. Maybe it is in the planning level. But definitely once the hydro power plant is built up, the initial cost will be higher, but the maintenance cost will be definitely lower. That is also applicable for the solar power plants. For the solar power plants, initial costing is higher, is not it? Initial costing should be higher for the solar power plants. But if you think about the long run, like 20 years of lifespan or 30 years of lifespan, definitely the energy production cost will be definitely lower, because the solar power plant, they have very minimum maintenance cost. They have very minimum operating cost. Okay.
Yes,
Now
sir.
there are few coal-based power plants. The capacity was more than 1,000 megawatt. So Paira, which is going on right now, Maheshkhali coal-based power plant, they are also going on. Whereas one unit, most probably in the Paira, 50% of the electricity is generated, but not another 50% is generated because of the shortage of the transmission line. The transmission line can carry up to a certain amount of power. The existing transmission system in Bangladesh, they cannot just transmit any amount of electricity, any amount of power. So as far I know, the Paira coal-based power plant is running with 50% of efficiency. There are Bashkhali, Boropukuria, Bangladesh India Friendship Power Plant. So there are lots of power plants projects are going on. Okay, so that's the overall scenario of the power plants and the power generation in Bangladesh. Any question from here?
নো স্যার।
নো স্যার।
Any open-ended question?
স্যার হচ্ছে
Anything?
পল্লী বিদ্যুৎ সমিতি 1-2 এগুলো কোন এজেন্সির আন্ডারে পড়ে স্যার?
You are talking about the REB. Only Vidyut is basically
Is that
the REB, rural electrification. So that is under the power division. That is under the power division. That is basically for the distribution of the electricity. The REB, they do not produce the electricity. REB is not for producing the electricity. Basically, REB is for distributing the electricity. Now, what is the meaning of distribution? Basically, they distribute the electricity at the consumer end. Okay.
ওকে স্যার।
If you want to draw a simple line diagram like this one, so first of all, there are power stations. So the power stations will basically the generators, and they will produce the electricity. Then there will be substation. So the substation 11 kV will be converted to the 33 kV, and from there it will go to the transmission system. It will move towards through the transmission system. Okay. The inter-district transmission line, when you go outside the Dhaka, definitely you will see the inter-district transmission line. So these are the inter-district transmission line. So after the transmission, this is basically the transmission. This part is basically this generation. Then the transmission. The transmission line voltage is near about 132 kV or 266 kV, sometimes 400 kV. Okay. Then after some substations, they are definitely make for 33 kV, maybe 33 kV, maybe 11 kV. Then they will be distributed to the consumer. So this is an industry. So the industry will consume the electricity. So from there, the electricity is coming to the industry. And again, from the 33 kV, you think about the household demand. What is the household demand? From 33, what will be the voltage level? 11 kV. From 11 kV, it will be 450 volts, 3-phase. Then it will be stepped down to 220 volts. And definitely we are the consumers. Okay. So that's the generation, transmission. After the transmission, whenever the step down condition is coming up, this is basically the distribution. You got the idea about what is the difference between transmission and distribution? These are the substations. So in the primary side or in the generation side, substation will increase the voltage, like 11 kV, it will increase the voltage to 33 kV. But at the distribution end, the substations usually, what do? They reduce the voltage. They step down the voltage from 33 kV to the 11 kV, from 11 kV 450 kV, and in such a way the voltages are reduced. You got the idea about the transmission, distribution, and the generation?
Yes,
Everyone?
Yes, sir.
sir.
Definitely we'll study more. Definitely we'll study a lot about these things. But overall idea is clear or not?
ক্লিয়ার স্যার।
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Any more question? Anything else?
নো স্যার।
No, sir.
স্যার 452 যে 220 হইলো স্যার, এটা কি টু ফেজ মোটরের জন্য হলো নাকি স্যার? মানে এর আগেটা 11 কিলো ভোল্ট থেকে 450 ভোল্ট হয়ে গেল, সেটা থ্রি ফেজের জন্য, কিন্তু এর
They are
পরেরটা কেন?
just step down. 450 to 3 phase, then the single phase is switching.
ওকে স্যার।
স্যার স্টেপ ডাউন তো স্যার সাবস্টেশন থেকে হবে নাকি?
Mainly they are done in the substation. Actually, substation is the concept, okay? It doesn't mean that it should be a physical construction. In the substation, basically there remains the switching, there remains the switching component, there remains the transformation components, like that could be step up transformer, that could be step down transformer, that could be switching, there could be relay, those things. Okay, so usually when you think about the step up or step down, we just think about the substations. We think that in the substations these are increased or decreased in a simple way, in a simple sentence. Do you understand? Anything else?
নো স্যার।
Okay, so let me share you the PowerPoint over here. Okay, so I have already shared you the lecture. You just check by yourself. Okay.
Okay, sir.
ওকে স্যার।
So that's the end of our class today. Anything else? Any question? Out of the box question? Out of the syllabus question? Anything?
স্যার ওই যে বাসার সামনে বেসিক্যালি যে ট্রান্সফরমার গুলো থাকে ওগুলো তো স্টেপ ডাউন করে, ভোল্টেজ গুলো স্টেপ ডাউন করার পরে কি ফাইনালি কি মানে বিল্ডিং এর ভিতরে কি আলাদা কোনো ট্রান্সফরমার রাখা হয় আবার ফার্দার কোনো
হয়।
বাড়ানোর জন্য বা কমানোর জন্য?
হয় না, ভোল্টেজ বাড়ানোর জন্য হয় না, বাট সামটাইমস if the load is heavy, if the load is high, suppose you have a 20-storied building. In the 20-storied building, you need a substation. When you need the three-phase system, when you need the three-phase transmission distribution system, you have to place another substation inside the building. But if you think about the normal household connection, there will be no transformer. Normally থাকে না।
স্যার
Okay.
আজকে স্যার যেগুলো স্যার পড়িয়েছেন স্যার, এগুলো থেকে কি স্যার এমসিকিউ প্রশ্ন থাকতে পারে?
খুব একটা না, খুব একটা না।
স্যার এটা কি
It is a
জাস্ট
very
বেসিক মানে ধারণা আর কি।
রাইট, জাস্ট দ্য ওভারঅল আইডিয়া। এখন আমি যদি কোয়েশ্চেন করি যে হোয়াট ইজ দ্য ইনস্টল ক্যাপাসিটি অফ গ্যাস বেসড energy production system in Bangladesh, so these questions are very absurd. Maybe it's a very important question for BCS, but I don't find any kind of importance of this question right now. এই জিনিস মুখস্থ করে কি হবে, কোনো মানে আছে?
ওকে স্যার।
সরকারি চাকরিতে লাগলেও লাগতে পারে, I don't know. I have no idea about that, but personally I do not give this kind of question to my students.
ওকে স্যার।
স্যার যত বেশি স্যার পাওয়ার স্টেশন বাড়বে স্যার, মানে ইন্ট্রোডিউস হবে স্যার কান্ট্রিতে, স্যার সেক্ষেত্রে কি রেট অফ চার্জ কমে যাবে স্যার নাকি বাড়বে স্যার?
Depend করে, depends upon the fuel cost. The main issue is the fuel, you know. Fuel cost যদি বাড়ে তাহলে আসলে কি হবে, definitely the rate in the year will the charge will be increased, is not it? If the fuel cost is lower, definitely the charge will be lower. Simple as that.
Yes.
Okay, so as because this was our first class, we are into, if we have
আমাদের
no
হ্যাঁ
other
স্যার,
question,
কারিকুলাম নিয়ে স্যার একটা কোশ্চেন ছিল স্যার।
sure.
স্যার আমাদের যে স্যার ক্যাপস্টোন প্রজেক্ট যেটা আছে এটা কি স্যার মানে বেসিক্যালি দুইটা করতে হয় নাকি ক্যাপস্টোন প্রজেক্ট একটা নাকি দুইটা ক্যাপস্টোন প্রজেক্ট করতে হয়?
One capstone project, but for 2 semesters. That is, the duration of the capstone project is more than 6 months or near about 8 months for 2 semesters. তো এই কারণে অনেক সময় এরকম হয় যে দুবার রেজিস্ট্রেশন করতে হবে, এই ধরনের কিছু ঝামেলা চলে আসে, তাই না?
তাহলে
capstone
একবার
project
ওটা দুইবারই করা যাবে, দুইবারই করতে হবে আর কি।
দুবারই মানে বুঝিনি।
মানে স্যার রেজিস্ট্রেশন একবারই করতে হবে বাট ওটা লাস্টিং করবে 2 সেমিস্টার পর্যন্ত।
রাইট। আর কিছু?
No, sir.
ঠিক আছে, so if you have no other question you may leave now. Thank you very much.
ওকে স্যার, আল্লাহ হাফেজ।
কারো যদি কোয়েশ্চেন থাকে করতে পারো, otherwise you may leave now. Sohidul, Abdullah, Saiful, please leave now.